Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, amazing people all around the world. And today I have another amazing guest, and he is on the other side of the world for me. So I have Joseph Cooper, who is the co-founder at Zeva Labs. Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, super happy to be here.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you're here today. Let's kick things off. I ask everybody, the first question is this: is what is your background, and is a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, I hope it's logical, but my background started modding games when I was 9 years old. So originally an engineer, as a how I started my career kind of. And at the age of 15, I modded a game that started making money. 250,000 users started showing up, and kind of dove straight into entrepreneurship at a young age. And that's where I kind of shifted from engineering to product and more like executive roles. So if we fast forward to today, this would be my sixth startup. I've sold three of them so far. So I've been fortunate at a 50% run rate, win rate so far. But yeah, I mean, today with Zeva Labs and our new product Nullshot, I actually am hands-on engineer again, which has been fun.
Awesome, awesome. So, I want to ask you, what Zeva Labs is all about, including your vision and your mission.
Yeah, so Zeva Labs was originally the first token launchpad on Avalanche. So the Avalanche blockchain ecosystem needed a place where you can launch tokens. So we would partner with about 30, 40 tokens over the last 4 years, and we would help them raise money in the traditional ICO, IDO kind of approach as that evolved over time. But now today, like when we're looking at the landscape, permission token launches are now not as favorable as permissionless when you look at like things like Pump Fund and virtuals and all these other places. So we were really, taken back and seeing, okay, what should we do as a next step as this token ecosystem evolves? And that's where Nullshot came to be. So Nullshot is going to be a omni-chain permissionless launchpad where you can launch tokens, memes, all that jazz. But we're going to be starting with a way to be able to build AI agents and apps together in a chat room. So you can imagine me and you chatting about an idea, and AI shows up and actually brings it to life, very similar to how like Base 44 or Lovable, some of those AI builder apps are going out there right now. But the difference is based on our contributions, we can actually co-own what is built and then tokenize it through a token launch. So I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, it's right around the corner, literally about 30 hours until we press the green button.
Wow. All right. Very cool. Very cool. So, I I think I got confused on your explanation there. Are you saying that Avalanche is a permission chain?
So Avalanche was it's always confusing, Avalanche versus Avalanche, which is why we're rebranding to Nullshot. But Avalanche was a permissioned token launchpad. So we would partner with projects and we would launch their tokens and help raise money.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Got it. So it's two different things. It's good to know. Thank you for clarifying for me. They said
Yeah, all good.
people get confused. So what can people achieve with these AI partnerships and first off, and then I want to get into the chat room a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, with the AI, where it comes in is it's really a partner to be able to help you build apps, AI agents, and tools. So it's kind of all in one. So it actually includes the chat room. So imagine you and me are like, hey, we would really like to make a dashboard that's analyzing the Zeva token. We want to know the market cap. We want to know the trends in the last 7 days. We want to aggregate tweets. Like we just start brainstorming, ideas in this chat. And then when we feel that we like some ideas, we could say like, hey, Nullshot, could you build this thing? And an AI agent would literally show up and build it right there in front of us.
That sounds good. I'm in chat rooms like Discord and Telegram, and like it hasn't become a favorable place to be. I get a lot of you know young Asian women wanting to know, getting to know me. I'm like, this is not a a personal app for me. This is my business app. Like you're in the wrong place, and then I block them. I'm like, how can people begin to trust these chat? Like trusting the chat room is the first step, right? Then the agent's the second step. So how do you get people on board to feel comfortable using Nullshot with that in mind?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thought for us right now is that you have to be on topic. So one of the mediums between all these chat rooms and what gets built and actually what launches in the end and how is it described is by an AI. So the AI is really trying to get the sentiment of the room, the topic and the problem statement of like what people are trying to achieve. And if you were to like, be building, this Zava tracker as we were discussing, but somebody's like, well, now I want to build a fart app. It's just going to be like, that's off topic, like, we're done. You should get out of here. And of course, you could flag and do all that other stuff in terms of trying to help curate your room. But yeah, AI is going to be there 24/7 trying to help moderate things.
And help bring things back to the proper subject matter. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, great. So the big AI agents is a big thing. I had much interviews with people building agents, but what will the next era of AI powered Web3 models have in store for all of us? Like what's going to be
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah, so I think the Web3 portion that we want to do first is the ownership of these products and these things that are built. I think that's the thing that is relevant for today that we can trust, and actually get into. If we fast forward to like what a lot of people like to talk about is let's give AI agents our money so that it can trade for us. And that's just, in my opinion, super scary. Like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not sure who's ready for that. And even if we were ready for that, there's a high chance somebody's going to hack a contract or the agent itself. So we're still in this like, safety mechanism, and I'm sure it'll come over time. But just like automated trading and all this other stuff, then it's going to be, oversaturated. There's going to be maybe millions of users trading money. So what's the step before that? The step before that to me is knowledge. So I can't recall the app on Telegram, but there's actually an app where you could pay a $200 subscription to get the trends of the top pump fund tokens that are about to launch. And there's a bunch of analytics and a bunch of information about it. And there's literally like around about 40, 50,000 subscribers to this app. So I think knowledge is probably going to be the first basis to how AI agents help people trade in terms of the Web3 ecosystem. But eventually, come late 2026, I could imagine us starting to trust it with some money.
Got it. So how did the agents do during the last flash crash in the market? Do you know?
I think it was very trendy, personally. I mean, I think a lot of money went into AI 16Z and virtuals. There's still a lot of money within those ecosystems, and I was very bullish and excited about those ecosystems. But as an engineer, once I showed up, I mean, Eliza is impressive. I actually think Eliza pushed some of the trends into the Web2 space in some senses. But for virtuals, it was, unfortunately, something that I, as an engineer, I thought fell flat. I couldn't do anything. I went to their partnerships and like tried to get involved. It felt like a big wall. It's something that I feel still lacking. But Eliza, we'll see where they go. I know 2.0 has been around the corner for a while.
And as a developer, how or as an engineer, you see the shortcomings, right? How would you improve these? Using your engineering hat, what would you have done differently? What would you do that would be improvement?
Well, the first thing is that you are selling to a developer. And a developer is extremely meticulous and has an idea of how they want to do things. They like Java or they like C Sharp or whatever it is. And I mean, I tried building a dev tools startup called KintoHub. Fortunately, I was able to exit it to Square and Cash App. And the reason why I exited it prematurely is because I hated selling the developers. At the end of that, I hated selling the enterprises. So the answer to that is that I think we still are waiting for better consumer related apps for crypto and also for AI agents or even just AI in general. So when you look at things like Lovable and Base 44, which are doing really well in the Web2 space, and there's like tens of these businesses now, nobody has figured out how could you do it in a collaborative and social way, and how could you do it where you can co-own, what has been produced as a group. I mean, we see in GitHub like all these awesome open source projects that become businesses or evolve into some of the largest works of code, like Kubernetes, like one of the biggest projects on earth. But who owns it? Who should make money when Google's making probably hundreds of millions now off of that open source project? And I think we can help answer that with tokenization.
Great. So who should well, the developers should own it because they should own and not enable Google to make money off them, right? So yeah, how do you do
They
it?
should have a piece. They should have a piece for sure, right? Yeah, and for us, like I'm hoping it's more than just developers. Like now that we're looking at consumers can chat, you know, literally things to life. And they're the ones spending money on these models to build their visions. So I'm also hoping we're adding a new player into the builder ecosystem, which is layman's people who are actually fans of their apps. Because developers, of course, they all deserve their piece, but the ideators and sometimes the best ideas come from the community, and they should definitely own a piece too.
Yeah. The other thing you talked about is trusting and knowledge, right? It seems to me, you know, just from my experience, is that a lot of people would rather not have knowledge. A lot of people would rather have the dopamine kick and have instant results, right? So how do we foster an environment where knowledge, it might be slow learning, is important and is valued over that quick dopamine hit?
I think that's something that, I mean, this gets more holistically like where the world's going. And like with AI, we actually have access to infinite knowledge, right? Like, fortunately, the smartphone went all over the world. A lot of people, almost everyone on earth, has access to the internet, which means that they have access to a lot of information. But it's so hard to be able to just get it, like to find it, to get it and figure out what is actually valuable. And now with AI, you can literally ask any question on earth, and there's a pretty damn good chance it's right. It's not always right, so we can't trust it blindly. But it is instantaneous magic. And so I think first of all, like we are getting to a point where like infinite knowledge is instantly accessible. Now the question is, how do we make use of it? How do we make an impact with it? And how do we just make sure that we don't blindly trust it? And that goes for everything. And I think the cycle of like leveraging knowledge is just something as a society we all need to get used to because it's right there. It's more about what do we do with it and how do we make sure we trust it.
Got it. So yeah, so a lot of people are afraid of like, they say AI is going to take my job. I'm going to be replaced. I'm not gonna be able to work anymore. And I believe that fearful story, right? Maybe a false narrative, right? So how is it a false narrative? And how is AI generating new opportunities instead?
Yeah, I think if you can leverage AI, you could definitely have new opportunities instantaneously. And some of the best engineers that I've looked up to over the years, they are not using AI. Some of them are not using AI, and I'll be honest, I'm not going to work with them. Like they're so far behind. The average lines of code I used to be able to do on a good day is 500, 800 lines of code. The average I do today is 30 to 35,000. So it's literally a magnitude of like how fast I can move. And I just hired our first engineer. Literally, it's just three of us right now, but our first outside engineer out of the founder group. And he was shined because he uses AI. Some people are afraid to say it. The number one question I ask is how much AI codes for you? And, people are like, well, I want to be able to have majority of my work is by me, right? And this guy came up and he was like, yeah, 90, 95%. I was like, that's exactly what I want to hear. And now he's hired, right? He has a job because he has decided to learn and upskill and do it. But I think that, I mean, we could go for hours about this, but just to kind of cap it off is that I used to be very pessimistic in, what is going to happen with society and humanity around, the future of jobs. And there was a talk on YouTube a few months ago of one of I think the original CTO of OpenAI, that showed some 7-year-olds using GPT. And I was just kind of took me a moment to realize that if I was starting to learn technology with this, LLMs like GPT and all these things, by the time I'm 18, I'm going to be probably superhuman. So, but the real question is, what about the people in between? And what are they going to do to keep up with society?
Yeah. What are they going to do? What do you think?
I hope
What do you think they should do?
I think they need to leverage AI and figure out how to make an impact in the business, which is very difficult because a lot of people, like let's say an accountant, their role is to just get the books done and delivered, at the beginning of the month, and that is done with AI now. I mean, you can literally, if you wanted to, it could be done in much better fashion with AI, and the tools are being built, and soon all the accountants will be replaced. So how do you, as an accountant, shift your ability to be able to give insights to an executive or to the team to make an impact, or actually be able to find a way to save money? There's things that you need to do versus just pushing the lever forward. You have to figure out how to make an impact to the top bottom line of a business. And I know that's hard. I think that's a big ask for somebody to want to be able to impact a business versus move a business along. But I think we need to start thinking about that.
Yeah. What I'm afraid of is I'm like my kids use Chat GPT, right? They're not allowed to access it in school anymore. They took it or take their cell phones away. My fear about not fear, but like concern is that people will stop being able to think critically. They'll rely on the technology and they won't develop the critical thinking skills that they should. How do you see it?
I agree with that. I think we will. It's very easy to become complacent to trust the AI, but like what I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and the thing that I try to help them with is just figure out how it works. Just really figure out how it ticks. Like, how does a watch work? It's interesting. Let's open it up, like, and figure that out. Let's look at it. Let's dissect it. And I think that curiosity to understanding how things tick is very important because the AI is going to do a lot of great things, but then there will be an issue. And the plumber will show up, and the plumber is an expert in that particular field, be it a surgeon, or be it an engineer, or be it whatever it's going to be. But that person who will still exist. I know that people like to literally say, all these executives saying, "Oh, the plumbers are the safest jobs in the world." No, the robots are coming. The next era is robots in the next like 5 years. So stop saying that. But really, a plumber to me is actually an expert in a particular thing that understands how it works, and they're going to show up and they're going to fix it. So I think you're totally right on like becoming complacent. Not critical thinking is a huge thing to teach. And then for me, it's also about just understanding how things tick.
Okay. So the other thing you just said that concerns me too is will I have my own personal robot like a pet? Telling me like how will that benefit? How can having a personal robot, which we will get to, right? How's that going to help people though? As what like what other than just the use of technology? How can that help people in their daily lives and in their lives going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as energy and the self, and I'll try to explain it. So first is that like I really know robots are around the corner, and AI or A16Z, not AI16Z, but Andreessen Horowitz just announced their thesis on the robots. Like they're definitely starting to invest. China's, and I'm here in Hong Kong, so I'm right next door to Shenzhen, where the robots are being built. Like they're all there, and they're doing great work, and it's like for me, when you get help in the house, when you have somebody, doing the laundry, doing the chores, doing these things that take energy away from you to have to be present with your kids and to have the extra energy to actually give to your children, I think that's where we're going to benefit the most. Maybe we'll be able to have a hobby to be selfish and like learn the guitar, like do more things. You're just going to have more energy to do things that you enjoy doing. And it's going to be very cheap to be able to spend money on a robot that will be able to do the things that you don't want to do. I think it's probably going to be like the electric car where, I was in LA like 3, 4 months ago, and there's a bunch of self-driving cars right now. It's a bit scary to see empty cars. And it's cool. Like it's finally moving. But how long did it take? It took like a decade. They were around for a while, but we don't trust robots, and we don't trust automated cars yet. It's like the credit card, I'm guessing. Like the credit card and putting your money on that versus a checkbook must have been a very hard transition back in the day. But today, our problem is going to be robots.
Hey, I never was able to balance a checkbook. I could balance like $1 billion, $1 trillion company's balance sheet, but my checkbook, forget it. You know,
Yeah, man. Need a robot for that.
you need a robot for that. So, what are you seeing in Shenzhen? What are you seeing them the application being? How do you see them being in the market? What's going on over there?
Yeah, it's the supply chain of like being able to have like really, really, really smart individuals working towards building things. They do a lot of physical things, from keyboards to the iPhones to everything, like everything physical. So their supply chain network is just beyond us. You can get anything instant, like you want a Mao Tai, like you can get it in an hour. Like whatever you want, like it shows up like Amazon in California, but even faster. And but then it's not just that for consumers, it's that for businesses. And they have a ton of resources. So I think what they really, we've been playing with robots for a long time. And how I look at the East versus the West is, the East is really good at, like, once they know what they want to do, they can execute faster than anybody on earth. And that's what they're doing, is that we know how to build these robots. We have all the applications for it. Now we have AI that can control it, which makes it easier to make something a little more autonomous. And they're just going at it. They have full standing humanoid bots right now that could do almost anything. They're playing, what's it called? Table tennis with each other. It's nuts.
Wow, I didn't see. I think that's cool. I didn't see it. Like, you see the pictures of these companies in like Massachusetts. They have like these robot dogs that can do a lot
Yeah.
of things. So I think that was pretty cool. Like, I'm not going to replace my Bernie Doodle.
No, no. We got to keep the real ones for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So you said we talked about how AI is lowering barrier for entry for developers. How about for like content creators, business people? How are we lowering the barrier with these new technologies, or the innovative technologies for creators?
I think Andrew Chen at Andreessen Horowitz said it best with the Cold Start Problem book, and then I think he tweeted it recently, or like maybe a year ago, is that the price of content is going to zero. Like it's an exponential curve, that the cost of like to generate and create content is going to zero. And then that's an exaggeration, because it won't hit zero. It will still take energy to create the content. Somebody has to pay for it. But it's becoming dirt cheap. And I think Sora 2 inspired me a few weeks ago of just how amazing we are at to getting the voice, lip sync, and the realism of a video. I would have been in film if I didn't find engineering. I used to do a lot of short films on YouTube, like when YouTube first came out. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, when I am done building stuff, I'm definitely going to go direct my own movies, like, and have a lot of fun with that with my kids or something. But I think for content creators, it's gonna, we get scared because like we got all this content that you can get so quickly. But the question is, what are the ideas that are going to spark interests? What are the new fads that are going to be as strong as like the commercial, like got milk, happy cows are from California, or whatever it is that I remember forever now. It's still going to be those things that impact society and resonate with people that somebody has to come up with. I think we're still far from like maybe having a dedicated AI coming up with innovative ideas, but having a sidekick to help you generate innovative ideas is right now.
Got it. Got it. I see, like, I write books, and I don't, like, I use like the 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 script, like, and then get that into Microsoft Word. In the process of the AI trying to understand what the conversation is, to the point where it's on Word. um, AI is not that great with grammar. Actually, it's pretty awful with grammar and spelling and punctuation and all that stuff, right? So I'm like, are the tools actually going to be able to get the grammar right? how do you see that? How do you see like so right now I spend a lot of time editing. So how do you see that playing out, or if we're not going to be able to ever get there, like it's shrunk in white, you know, which would be
Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna get there. And it's just like the computer, right? The computer started in a room and now it's in our pocket. And an LLM is gonna turn 3 in December. Like we're so early. It's crazy. And I mean, what I tell everybody in that situation is spend 5 hours a week trying something new. You have to. You have to do the next model. You have to try the next tool. There's going to be somebody that just created that right prompt that tuned that AI to do the right thing. So for writing in particular, my wife uses DeepSeek, actually. She's tried all of them and she's like a huge fan of DeepSeek. She writes a lot on LinkedIn, mostly like content creation stuff. But DeepSeek was the golden winner for her. Can't tell you why, she's tried them all and she spent, she writes a lot and that's her favorite. But I think even for coding, for example, about a year ago, you could not code like a really good UI. Like it just wouldn't come together. And now with Sonnet 4.5, it's about 95%. It's looking great. It's literally magic. So I think time is just in our way.
and where do you think would be the best place that people could try out the different? I mean, there's known applications. There's DeepSeek, there's ChatGPT, there's Grok, right? But there are hundreds of other, coding, pieces of code on for AI. Where can where can they try that out? What do you recommend people be able to access it?
I mean, as an engineer, I use Cursor and they have access to so many models. So I get to play with a lot of models just through Cursor with one subscription, which is really nice. Open Router is also for an engineer, like access to hundreds of models, just with one subscription, which just makes it easier. But really, there is no one place. There is no answer to that question because it changes. Every few weeks, there's somebody that's created like an app that is leveraging LLMs, and it's kind of crazy because all it is actually a prompt. Like if you can come up with a really smart prompt to tune an LLM really what we're trying to do is we're trying to take the LLM's infinite knowledge and your vision, your desire, and get it on the same page. And it's actually the more detailed you can get it really close, and then it will do exactly what you want. But you almost have to be meticulous. And when somebody creates an app for writing, for example, they're being very meticulous on how you should write. I think there's like write.io or something like that that's doing one of them. I don't know if it's good or not, but somebody's going to crack the prompt, the master prompt that's going to, do the job.
Okay, got it. And same thing for the you start off. You said you're modding games, like you see how I'm sure you see how this process, this thinking can transform and revolutionize gaming, right? What do you see as the future of that as well because of what you're doing and what people like you are doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's two big forks right now in gaming. One is that they are trying to create fully like AI generated worlds, like in real time, and that just blows my mind. I think they're at the point where they could generate a world, and then you can like paint the wall, and then you can turn around, go somewhere, and come back, and you can still see your paint. Like that simple action is actually very, very difficult to achieve, and they're there, and it looks pretty realistic. But is that gonna be like I am gonna spend every day like in any world that I want? I want to play a fantasy game and ride a dragon, and it just happens. Like I think that's probably where that portion is gonna go. But the thing is, like experiences is actually you have to curate them. So you can't just randomly watch a random AI generated movie every day. You'd probably get bored. The other side of gaming is that it's going to start with content, so 3D models, sound, art, like that stuff, very easy to do right now, and it's doing really well. So we lowered the cost for content. But engineering, since we've been relying on these huge engines like Unity and Unreal, we don't have the tools to leverage those engines yet. And what I mean by that is that if we can teach the AI how to take over Unity and take over Unreal, then we'll be in a much faster state. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think we're probably a year away from really like seeing LLMs impact the game industry from an engineering point of view.
Got it. Got it. Interesting times, that we're living in right now. So very cool. So I want to thank you very much for speaking with me today. I enjoyed speaking with you. I have one last question, and yeah, how can people find out more information about you, about Zava Labs? How can they get on board as far as using these chat rooms, using the AI agents? How can they do that?
Yeah, so you can follow me on X, aka Twitter. So I'm coding Coop. And then in terms of where this is all going to begin is on nullshot.ai. So that's where we'll be launching that in about 30 hours from this recording, and really excited to see what everyone builds.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.